So just to catch y'all up, basically I'm in the process of getting my first home. I'm trying to, with God's blessings and grace, hopefully I will get this home. It was like a painful I wouldn't say painful. That's like being a bit exaggerative. That's a word. But I was in the process. No, I wasn't. I am in the process of getting a home. I picked the house that I like. I put in my initial bid, went in with my counter offer, but went through all of that. So now, right now, I'm in the due diligence process. So that's basically what's going on with that. So before I even had a house, I had already, I had already went to see a couple of homes. I knew that I wanted to get a house maybe from last year because that rent life, I mean, the rent life is a convenient life, but that rent life has become a very, what's the word? It's not advantageous for me because every year the rents increase, but how much do our salaries increase? I mean, maybe some of y'all's are increasing quickly, but mine was not increasing that quickly. It was like every time my salary increased, my rent increased to take up that much of my salary. I'm just like, y'all tripping. But yeah, so every year the rent increases and every year I'm staying in the same apartment. Now, they have done some changes around the particular complex I live in where they made the grounds look nicer, they're taking better care of things. But the fact that I'm sitting in the same one bedroom, one bathroom, same carpets, same walls, it's just not advantageous for you anymore. Now, you could say, oh, you can move, which is true. You can find someplace cheaper, not as true. So it seems like the rents are increasing everywhere, especially everywhere where I'm sorry, I'm making these faces. I'm trying to like see if I have food on my face. But so right, you could say that, oh, you can move somewhere else. Now, if I was to move somewhere else and want to pay the price that I was paying before, I'd literally be moving into either a rough neighborhood or a terrible apartment, like a terrible apartment. So that was a no. So let me back up a bit. So last year I knew I wanted to get a house. And this year I decided, okay, I'm really going to attack it. I'm getting there 30 years old. I actually turned 26 over the summer, during the summer. And I said, okay, by my age, my father had built a house. So, and home ownership is something that's in my family, like it's in my blood. Not to be like dramatic, but it is. So I was like, okay, you know what? This rent life, I know they're going to increase my rent again once I try to renew my lease. So it's time for me to go ahead and get a home. And of course, I explored all my options. I said, okay, well, I could either move to another apartment complex, which is where I realized I'd either be living someplace unsafe or I'd be living someplace that was like a slum. And I wasn't about it at all. Or I could get a condo, or I could get a townhome, or I could get a single detached home. So I started around my birthday, even though my lease wouldn't have been up till about now. I started during my birthday, which is a good months ahead. And usually they don't like you to really start looking for homes that far in advance because it has to do with them pulling your credit for pre-qual and whatever it may be. But so I started looking early because I wasn't really sure what I wanted. I wasn't sure if I'd want a condo. I wasn't sure if I want a townhouse. I wasn't sure if I'd still prefer to live in an apartment. I wasn't sure if I'd want to live in a single detached home. I could tell you for the most part, I didn't want to live in a single detached home because I don't want to do all of that myself. Like I don't want to be mowing lawns. I don't I don't want to be doing all of that by myself. And in a townhouse and a townhome and a condominium, you get the convenience of paying maintenance fees or HOA fees for people to come and pretty much take care of that stuff for you. So it's still like an apartment, but not so much. So when I started my search, I was able to kind of look at the things I liked. Like the very first thing that I did was see a condo, and I walked in and I was just like, no. Why would I pay to own an apartment? That doesn't make sense to me at all. Why would I pay to own a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in Georgia? Now, if this was New York City, maybe. If this was LA, maybe. If this was London, England, maybe. But not in Atlanta, Georgia, where there's so much land for us to take advantage of. So I was just like, I walked in and I was just like, no, this is not it. So then I went and got myself put on those FMLS listings and started to and met with a realtor, and the person that became my realtor is actually my friend's realtor. So I went with him because I assumed, okay, he knows how to work with young people, because she was happy with her choice or whatever. So, and she seemed to really like him. So I called him up and we met with him, and he was like very, 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 very diligent and very detailed. So I decided he'd be my realtor. So he put me on the FMLS listing, which is basically like automated. Like if you have like a whole set of requirements, they kind of just, like if you say, oh, I only want houses that were built in 1990 to 2010. I only want houses with 2 bedrooms. I only want houses with 3 bathrooms. They put in all this information for you, and it will populate the results anytime something new is entered into the system. So we did that. The first area, the primary areas where I initially looked. Hold on. So when I did the FMLS, I told the realtor, okay, we're going to be searching for houses in between $100,000 to $200,000. Which, I will say this. If you have something that you know is going to be about $300,000, I highly suggest that you figure out 20%. Okay, hold on, let me see. So initially, I told the realtor to enter into FMLS. Okay, I'm looking for places 2-bed, 2-bath between $100,000, $200,000, condos, townhouses, and detached homes. And I said I don't really want condos, but the thing is, with condos and townhouses, they're kind of considered the same thing because it's all detached living situations. So the point that I want to make is that if you are thinking the max you're going to look at is $200,000, I highly suggest that you think, do I have $40,000 in an account somewhere? Okay, that's just one thing, because putting down 20% is great. There are a whole bunch of programs that will help you, but you don't have to. But having, the funds to put down on a house, 20% down, is great. Now, I was like, oh, 100,000, 200,000. So then I started getting accustomed to like the stuff I was seeing. And as I started to see houses that I liked, I'd go visit the neighborhoods. I'd kind of go look. I wouldn't go and schedule like actual viewings of the house. Like none of that was done until we got closer and closer till the end of my lease date. So I would go out to neighborhoods. Like some of the areas were far, and I was just like, oh, that doesn't seem like a bad commute. And then I drive and I'm like, nope, this area is getting cut out right here. So that's basically the first thing. I would just try to see, okay, what's it like? What's the commute like to these houses after work, before work? And some areas got cut out just because of that. And you don't even have to really try to drive. You can just go to Google Maps, put in a time where traffic is bad, and in Atlanta, it's pretty much all the time, and see, okay, it's going to take me 2 hours to get to work. That's a no. I'm not living there. Not me. That's one of the things that I was like, listen, I'm not doing an hour commute. That's nope. I'm not doing that. This is not New York City, and there is no trains. No. So, or at least no like legit train system here. So as we got closer and closer, I realized, okay, can't really do that much, 200,000, so let's bring it down a bit. But my realtor never really brought it down. He just left it. But then I knew in my mind, okay, I'm not gonna be paying for $200,000 houses. So I have to expand my search to encompass houses that are cheaper. Something that I would suggest you also do is get on this website, Zillow.com, and also put in your requirements there, because for some weird reason, sometimes houses would be on FMLS and they won't be on they won't be on FMLS, but they'd be on Zillow. But I also think it's, if a house has been on the market longer than you've been looking on FMLS, you probably won't see it. So I also went on there and started to pull up houses. So when it got closer to the time, I went and looked for a house. Hold on, my dog's making noises. So now, so around the end of summer, the beginning of fall, is when I went ahead and got pre-qualified and went out to go see a few houses. And the first house I saw, I was like, this is the house I want. It was pretty much the house I wanted. It looked like a townhouse, had brick front. Not looked like a townhouse, it was a townhouse. And 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, fairly new. It was built in 2007. It was far from work, but it was feasible. So I was like, okay, this is the house that I want. So got together with my realtor. We put together a contract, blah 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 blah, and I couldn't get the house because of a situation that was going on in that particular neighborhood, and I got pre-qualified for a particular loan. So because of what was happening in that neighborhood, that contract would have never gone through. So my realtor was like, "No, we're gonna let this expire because it's not gonna go through." So then we go see some more houses. I'm like, "Oh, I like them, but I don't really like them." And they were, townhouses, this, that. But that was the area around it for me was just like I could deal with some things, coming from Brooklyn and stuff like that. But I was just like, this is no. So those houses were no. Then we went to see a house that was really close to my place, but it was a townhouse. The outside of it I didn't really like, but the inside, it was like close to 2,000 square feet. It had multiple bathrooms. It had started to like renovate down there. It had a good chunk of space, really close to work. And go ahead, put the bid in, and my realtor is like, yep, nope. Or I went to go try put the bid in. My realtor was like, no, we can't. No, not this one. So that was a no. So by this time, I'm tired. So we scheduled to see some more houses. And this time, I'm like sending house after house after house after house after house after house to my realtor. Like, okay, what about this? What about this? Will this meet my loan requirements? What about this? So he like starts breaking it down, like this house is no, no, no. And at the same time, we're currently in a seller's market here in Georgia. And every time I would like look at a house, that thing would be gone. Like it would be so gone so fast. And it's just like people were buying up the houses. Like you couldn't wait a week. Like if you saw a house on a Tuesday, know that it'd be gone by next Monday because people go view the houses over the weekend. So what my realtor and I started doing was seeing the houses during the week. So anyway, so I get down to about the third time we're going to go view houses. We go to places in Cobb County. So, and if you're familiar with Georgia, you know Cobb County. And Cobb County is a large county. So we go see these houses in Cobb County, but they're on like the lower side of Cobb. And the first house I say, I'm like, oh, this is nice, but no. The second house I see, I'm just like, okay, I like the outside. We went in, and that house was just like, it was cute. It was nice. I liked the feel of the neighborhood, and that's probably going to be like either in this vlog or in a vlog after that, where it's just like talking about viewings and seeing the houses or whatever. Or seeing the house I picked in particular. So we went in there, and my realtor is bougie. And if I do add the footage in, if I make a video out of the other footage, you can hear me literally say to him, "You're bougie." Like, you're bougie. We went into like the house, and it had good bones, as people would say. It had good bones. But it was just like, it was lived in, it was lived in, and the person didn't have much time to like clean stuff up, renovate stuff before we were like running in to come see it. So walked around, and he's just like looking at it, and he's like, "Oh, it has this, it has that." Okay, whatever. Like, and then I said to him as we were leaving, I was like, "Okay, I'd like to do this one because maybe I could paint it, I could fix it and stuff like that." And he was like, "Let's just," this is so funny, but it was like, "Let's just wait and see, what's kind of included in this price, this listing price." And I was like, "Okay." So you could tell he wasn't too keen on it, which makes him, in my opinion, a good realtor. Because he was, he wasn't going to be like, "No, you can't get this house." But he was kind of just like, "Let's just kind of vet this out a little bit more." So after that, I went home, and I started to look up the neighborhood that the house was in, because I liked the look of the houses. Like, there's something cozy about the houses. That was my thing. The reason why I looked at townhouses, because I wanted a sense of coziness. Like, I guess it's from growing up in New York and coming from an island where the houses tend to be a bit smaller and tend to be a bit closer together. Is that I don't like to feel like, okay, I'm here and there's a house all the way down, like all the way down there. Like, that makes me uncomfortable. Like, I need to know that there's people within, like, close proximity of me. So I started to look up the neighborhood, and I looked to see if there was any other houses for sale in that neighborhood. And there was. So, like, I can't remember if it was that same week. So I sent it to my realtor, called him like literally the next morning, like, "Did you see this house? Oh, what do you think?" He's like, "Oh, I just called their realtor. I'm trying to figure out why this house hasn't sold, blah, 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 blah." So he called, he sends me an email like, "Meet me at this house, 12:30." Sends me an email like, "Meet me at this house, 12:30." So we go in, and it was just like, ah, like, no, not like, ah, but kind of like, ah, like, okay, this is cute. This is cute. This is feeling like, modern. It's feeling a bit like me. Okay. Go upstairs, and I walk into the master bedroom, and then I turn into the master bathroom, and I turn into the closet, and it was just like, ah! And I literally like was like, "Look at this closet. Look at this closet." And I said, "This is my house." My realtor was like, "Oh, okay." This dude he was ready. Let's just say he was ready. I don't want to talk him out too much, but he was ready. So that day, we were like, "Okay, let's go. Let's go ahead and put this offer in." So yeah, so that is basically the story. It's pretty much a long story of why I've been packing up things. But basically, I've been packing up things because at one point I was like, "Dang, I'm not going to find a house. I don't know where I'm going to go next. The least I can do is get prepared." You know what I mean? So I've been packing up things, going to Goodwill and finding like cheap little decor pieces and stuff like that. It's like, so no matter where I go, I can still put together a home. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been doing. And I was like, one of the things I believe in is like, if you can't make moves this way, make moves that way. Like, you know, my father always said, all roads lead to Rome. So I was like, listen, if I can't make moves this way, let's go ahead and start making moves that way. Because I believe in plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. I might not go all the way to Z because I'm too lazy, but yeah. So that is that story. Have a good night. Subscribe for more stories. Like for more stories. Stay loved, stay blessed, stay healthy. Love you guys.